Hello, this is Chloe Belinga, and I will be presenting on the top 10 best-selling cards that I found out in the Pokemon set Prismatic Evolutions. Okay, don't move down. Choosing my top 10, I calculate my top 10 that I will be presenting. So when choosing the top 10, I paid most of my attention to sales volume, market price, and market price changes. I try to strike a balance between these three, and that is because in my eyes, the best-selling cards are those that are selling a lot at a relatively high price, considering the card's history and the type of card it is. So how I do this is I look at the top 15 most popular on price charting and the top 15 best-selling on TCG Player related to the set, and then I take all the cards from the ones collected and I rank them all based on price point, price change, and sales volume individually. And then from there, I calculate the final ranking using a point system based on their placements in each individual category to get my top 10. So just to give you a brief glance of it. These are the cards that I collect from each website. Obviously, it's not 30. I never rank more than 19 cards, and that's because there is a lot of overlap between websites usually. And then from there, I collect data about them. Here in Google Sheets, I collect the price point according to TCG and the price point according to price charting, so market price and ungraded price, and from there I average those two prices to get the price point that I'm going to use in the ranking. And then I also note down the 3-month price change, specifically percentage price change based off of TCG Player, and then I rank them based off sales volume just by myself by looking at the graphs on TCG Player and then also looking at eBay sales. And then from there, we have specifically 18 here. So based on their rankings within each individual category, I give them a certain amount of points. First place being the most, and last place either being 1 or 0, depending on what I think last place deserves, because sometimes they'll just have no sales, and I don't feel good giving them 1 or 2 points. I just give them 0 points, as can be seen here. And from there, they calculate into this equation, and then I sort them based off of the amount of points they have, and that's our ranking. Getting into the slides, each slide will contain an explanation of why I believe it is within the top 10, and I will also have a few honorary mentions at the end that I include because they caught my eye for some reason. Usually it's because sometimes it's cards that I thought would be in the top 10 but didn't end up there, or cards that caught my eye in another way or form, usually for research purposes. But yeah, let's get started. Number 1 is Flareon EX146. Another thing I'm going to note really quickly, Prismatic Evolutions, for those who don't know the card games or the TCG of Pokemon really well, Prismatic Evolutions is the Eeveelution set. So Eevee has 8 different evolutions. This set, you're gonna see a lot of Eeveelutions within our top 10 because of that. Our number one is Flareon EX146, or the Fire Evolution of Eevee. This is a special illustration rare of an Eeveelution, and so because of that, it is a chase card within the set. It is one of the rare Eevee cards, basically. And because this is the Eeveelution set, it is a chase card because it is an Eeveelution. In terms of Pokemon popularity, Eevee evolutions in general, I'm gonna switch between Eevee evolution and Eeveelution. They both mean the same thing, but being an Eevee evolution makes it automatically well-liked among fans. Flareon specifically consistently overperforms expectations relative to its competitive relevance both in sales and within the TCG. So Flareon just overall is a well-performing Eeveelution for some reason. This is also, like I said, an Eeveelution, so Eeveelutions are often bought together and with the intention of completion. So in other words, collectors will try to buy all Eeveelutions at the same time. So if a collector has one Eeveelution, they will try to So, how do I word this? I think that's fine. Collectors will try to buy all Eeveelutions. So if they have one, they'll try to get the others, basically. And that includes Flareon. That's why you'll see a lot of Eeveelutions within our top 10, especially because they are the chase cards of this set. Next one is another Eeveelution, but this one actually isn't a chase card, and we'll go into it. This is Umbreon EX number 60. Pokemon popularity is an Eeveelution, so of course it's up there, but Umbreon is considered the most valuable Eeveelution in nearly every modern set. I think specifically in playability, but also it's very popular among the Eeveelutions due to its dark typing and its darker aesthetic. Like I said, this isn't the chase card version of the Umbreon Eeveelution. This card is generally more affordable because it isn't the super rare chase card, it isn't, I actually think, very much of a special rare either. But this card is a more affordable version of the Umbreon chase card of this set, which makes it more affordable and more accessible to collectors. It just has a bigger audience because of its price point. And then collectability as well. Once again, this is an Eeveelution. Collectors will try to buy all Eeveelutions, including in all versions, because they just want all of the Eeveelution cards. They're just a set. And so collectors will buy this card just to complete the set of Eeveelutions. Yeah, this is the chase card. So, still carries the Pokemon popularity of being Umbreon. The difference is that this has the rarity. So this is the Umbreon card within this set, being a special illustration rare. And being, honestly, I think it is one of the most, I know it's not the first best selling, but it's definitely one of the most popular of the Eeveelution chase cards within this set. Eeveelution, so it has that collectability as well. Collectors will buy this because it's an Eeveelution and they want to have all Eeveelutions. And also the artwork. You'll notice all of our Eeveelution chase cards, our special illustration rares, will have a very similar art style and artwork. And so that also adds to collectability, but they're all customizable to each Eeveelution. So Flareon has a warm palette, it has fire in it, it's a little bit more dynamic. The Umbreon art, which personally is my favorite, has that really nice night aesthetic. It almost looks like a glass paned window, sort of. And I think this art specifically is a fan favorite because of that. Next one, another Eeveelution. This is Glaceon, which is the ice type Eeveelution. This is the chase card for Glaceon, which puts it up there. Just being an Eeveelution, Glaceon has a well-liked, graceful and elegant design that appeals to the fan base. It being an Eeveelution contributes a lot to its collectability, and the artwork also contributes to that collectability, but this artwork also matches the Pokemon very well. Like I said, Glaceon is the ice type Eeveelution, and the background really helps speak to that. And its graceful aesthetic also is captured in the posing of the Pokemon. Surprise, another Eeveelution. This is the same card. Okay, this is the same card as this, but it's stamped, and because it's stamped, it's rarer, but it still has that affordability compared to the Umbreon chase card, but because it's a little rarer, it's appealing to collectors. And yeah, and then it carries a lot of the other qualities that the other Umbreon card we saw, with the fact that it's an Eeveelution. Specifically, it's an Umbreon card, which tends to be quite popular, and it being an Eeveelution adds to its collectability within this set. Another Eeveelution, I'm sorry. This slide is going to be just like a lot of this. This is Sylveon, which is the fairy type Eeveelution. This is the chase card for Sylveon, so we have a special illustration rare, which automatically makes it appealing to collectors. It's an Eeveelution, which automatically makes it appealing to collectors as well, as in they will buy this card just so that they can have all of the Eeveelutions. Sylveon specifically has one of the strongest fan bases of like all fairy type Pokemon, and that's because Sylveon was very well liked when it was a little controversial, I think, honestly, when it was well introduced, but like a stupid controversial, you know. But Sylveon overall is just a very well liked Pokemon. Just outside of the Eeveelutions, it's a very well liked fairy type Pokemon, and so Sylveon is quite up there. The artwork, having similar artwork to the others, making it more collectible, and also just having a very nice artwork that matches the Pokemon very well. The pinks and blues, keeping on with its color palette, the ribbons, the little details with the flowers and stuff for a very feminine looking Pokemon. It's just very appealing to collectors and fans. Okay, not an Eeveelution. This is Ceruledge EX147. This is another chase card, but it isn't an Eeveelution related chase card. It's also a special illustration rare. But in terms of Ceruledge, it is one of the most successful modern Pokemon designs, meaning that it is appealing and successfully like very popular compared to like other modern Pokemon. It's mainly known for its dark, edgy anime sword type aesthetic, and it's just overall a fan favorite because of that. This dark, edgy aesthetic also makes it an Umbreon alternative for more modern fans who do not want to chase the Eeveelutions of this set. So for those who don't want the Eeveelutions and don't want to chase them for this set, they do have Pokemon alternatives, and Ceruledge is one of those. Yeah, back to the Eeveelutions. I honestly think this is the last one. We're at number 8, or the last Eeveelution of our top 10. But this is the chase card for Leafeon, which is the grass type evolution of Eevee. It's popular because it's an Eeveelution, which also adds to its collectability, but Leafeon specifically has a nature theme, which is currently very popular, and the art really speaks to that. And yeah, I think that's it. A lot of the Eeveelution's reasonings are going to be the same, as you can see. Also, this graph is glitched. I know it looks like this Pokemon just has no sales volume. It doesn't. It has been selling for like the past couple months, but for some reason the graph just doesn't reflect that. Now we're out of Eeveelution, we're going to Pikachu, which is a little bit of an equivalent. But Pikachu is the mascot of Pokemon and is arguably the most popular Pokemon of the whole entire franchise. Sorry, I feel like I should say the name Pikachu EX179. Like I said, he's just very popular among the fandom. And Pikachu cards are almost never not bestsellers just because of how popular Pikachu is. This is also a hyper rare. I think this is the highest rarity we've encountered within the bestseller so far. And so Hyper Rare makes it one of the rarest cards in the set and therefore one of the chase cards, as in it's just very appealing to collectors because it's a very rare. It also has a very unique art style, which kind of I think speaks to the fact that it's one of the rarer cards in the set. You can kind of tell through the art and the foiling and stuff. But yeah, that is our number 9, and now we are going to our number 10, which is Roaring Moon EX162. So Roaring Moon is a Paradox Pokemon, which for those who aren't familiar with the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet game and storyline, yeah, it's a Pokemon from the future. That's all I'm going to say, but it has a very distinct sci-fi appeal that appeals to modern fans. And it also has this little ancient thing in the corner, which makes it more collectible as well. Artwork is actually also really nice. It's aggressive, it's high impact, it's a centered art, which makes it appealable to collectors because that makes it displayable. It's also dynamic and, like I said, centered. And this card specifically, as far as I've seen in my research, is quite popular among players who are crossing into or starting to collect Pokemon cards. So this is just a very entry-friendly card for new collectors. It has quite of a high price point, but it's not too rare, if that makes sense. And yeah, those are our top 10, so now we're moving on to our honorary mentions, which are the Eeveelutions that I didn't mention at all. So Espeon is our Psychic type Eeveelution, and Vaporeon is our Water type Eeveelution. Like I said before, there are 8 of them, and these 2 were the ones that were not included in my top 10. And so obviously I thought that should be noted, because these are also chase cards of the set. And what I've concluded, and from my calculations, this is due to their just comparatively lower sales volume and price change compared to the others. So these both have like more of a negative price change than the others and are overall lower in sales volume. Why I believe this to be true, or why I believe this is happening, is I believe the reason they aren't among the bestsellers is due to just their comparative collector appeal. So in other words, if a collector can only buy a certain amount of cards to add to their Eeveelution collection, these are often the Eeveelutions that are left out. So among the Eeveelutions, these are the quote-unquote least collectible. And this is because these Pokemon have a similar aesthetic and similar color palette to other Eeveelutions that are already present. So Umbreon and Espeon, which I think were the first Eeveelutions like ever, or the first they're the first naturally at least evolving Eeveelutions. Very similar aesthetic, they're often paired together. And Umbreon is a little bit more popular than Espeon, I think, as of right now. And so if you were to choose, you would get Umbreon, and then you would kind of leave Espeon out. Same with Vaporeon and Glaceon. They have a very similar color palette. Although their designs aren't very similar, they kind of gave off the same, like, graceful, elegant vibe. And so Vaporeon tends to be left out because Glaceon's design tends to be a little bit more favored. Just overall, as to why they're not on here, I just think there's 8 cards and they're all quite expensive and quite rare, and so these 2 just happen to be the cards that are left out in terms of like budget and stuff like that. These 2 cards are just the cards that people tend to choose to leave out. And yeah, I think that is it for my presentation about the top 10 best-selling cards of the Pokemon set Prismatic Evolutions. Thank you for listening.